Hey, what's up guys, Wolf back here, and welcome back to the Critical Review. And today we have Europa Universalis 4. Now guys, Europa Universalis 4, if you haven't heard of it, it is a grand strategy game, based in the real world from the time periods of 1444 to 1821. So the start of 1821 from about the end of 1444, basically after the fall of Constantinople, I do believe, to the Ottoman Empire, or the Ottomans. But anyway guys, it is about time I did a critical review of this, because I put in 235 hours to this game, and I'm really pumped to actually do a review on it. I already did one on Steam. You can check that out if you like, but there's not everything in there. But essentially, allow me to start with just explaining, the game a bit more, and just the general gameplay. Now guys, essentially in Europa Universalis 4, you play as any country in the world that existed as a notable civilization, and even ones that aren't so notable, but like, so major tribes in North America, the Mayan, Aztec, Inca civilizations, the South American Andes range civilizations, also most of Europe, well, all of Europe. You can play as anyone in Europe. Europe is where the gameplay is mainly focused, so most of the unique events and decisions in the game, which I'll get to in a second, are there. And guys, okay, so essentially events and decisions in the game, a random event, they're random, completely random, apart from the events, sorry, are completely random, and they essentially pop up, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, but they depend on how you've approached the game. So you could probably go for a very liberal understanding of civilization, in which case almost all other civilizations apart from more republic or republicanized, so like constitutional monarchy is the only other republic type thing, will be just, they'll hate you because you're so liberal and you want to destroy the monarchy, or that's what they believe. And decisions in the game are essentially, most of the time, unique events to A, your religion, B, your country, or C, your idea groups that you can pick in the game. So yeah, the idea groups, by the way guys, they're things that, how you want to approach the game. They give you significant bonuses in order to advance your civilization, and they're essentially, if you have some extra points, there's a point system in Europa, I'll get to that, but you just spend some extra points on those if you haven't spent, if you have some remaining from spending on technology. And now I'll get to technology. Technology is the general progression from the start of the game till the end. There's 32 technologies in each tree, and each one's 32 technologies. And there's military, diplomatic, and administrative. Not in that order, that was backwards, but the point system is based on your ruler of the country. With a monarchy, it's entirely random what ruler you will get, whereas a republic, you can only get a 4-1-1 of 1-4-1, and that's administrative, diplomatic, and military in that order. But yeah, it's a general point system that goes to an overall pool that you can use to advance your civilization, keep it stable, keep it running. So after that is, after I've covered a bit about the gameplay, I'm not going to go too in depth for the gameplay, because if I go too in depth, I could be sitting here for hours. So, yeah. But, there's diplomacy in the game, which is another gameplay element, and there's the military wars and embargoing. That's just like trade embargoes, and yeah, espionage and stuff. But that's all tied into diplomacy. And essentially, the diplomatic side is very in-depth. You will want to get quite a few allies, but I'll probably do a guide to that later. But essentially, diplomacy is very in-depth, and it's very nice, actually. You have a choice to vassalize countries that you've gone to war with if you have enough war score, which is essentially how much you've defeated the enemy you're fighting, or how much progression you've got to your war goal, which you can pick through claims and casus bellis and stuff, which I may explain later in another video. But the war aspect is very, very simple. If you're expecting it to be like Total War or an RTS in terms of military, you are completely wrong. Military is entirely based on luck and numbers. You are not going to have any of this, alright, strategy, move it there. There are some terrain that will benefit you if you're defending, but apart from that, there is no strategy involved in the military. It's entirely luck and numbers, and you just gotta deal with that. It's very, if there is strategy, it's very low range. I don't really consider it to be strategical in many ways, but it's quite interesting. But if you go in, technology also applies to that, because that will give you bonuses to your army and to your navy and other things. But say you're playing as a Northern American tribe, and a settler comes along, or colonizers, say the English, and they're like, hey, we're gonna declare war on you, we want your land. Even if you had more troops than they attacked you with, you're more likely to lose against them than they are against you. And that's entirely just based on the technologies, it's very unfair playing as a country that's not in Europe or one of the Muslim nations, because the other nations are so backwards in technology that it becomes kind of a pain. But anyway, that's enough about the military and diplomacy side. I'm going to move on to the graphics. The graphics in the game, they're simplistic. They're very, very simplistic. They're not going to win any awards, and they're decent. Like, for that kind of game, it's been described as a map painting simulator. I would akin it more to a Risk board game, except in a video game format. And that is essentially how it is. It's very clean, actually. They got a bunch of different map modes that drastically change the way the game looks, but they are essentially just to give you more information. They change colors and stuff. It's not really anything special. The default map mode, terrain, is nice to look at. I mean, it's nice, but it's very annoying, because it's very hard to see what's going on. They've also got political, diplomatic, so you can see your allies and who you're at war with and stuff, trade goods, and the trade aspect. But anyway, yeah, that's just the main ones. So the graphical user interface, or the GUI, if you like to say it like that, or, just the thing you look at with all the menus and stuff, to put it in simple terms, is very interesting. It's very concise, but it's easy to find what you're looking for if you know where it is, because there's like stability and expansion, which controls your rebels and stuff. There's the economy, which oddly enough, the economy stuff also has the production underneath it, and that can be a bit confusing, but it essentially ties in all the same. But if you know what you're looking for, you will be fine. And I can guarantee that the tutorial will teach you nothing about the graphical user interface. It is pointless. The tutorial, I personally never played, but I've seen it played, and it will not help any new player. It may teach you the basic controls and stuff, and say how to, excuse me again, load an army onto a ship and such, but it's kind of useless. Of course, there is a lot of downloadable content that you can get to enhance the visual aspect of your armies and your navies and the advisors, but that's about it. And that is all very expensive, so personally, I should probably move on to the DLC now. The downloadable content in the game is somewhat of an overkill. It's not necessary to buy it. They have a lot of free patches, which I love about Paradox, unlike the disappointing games I've seen being published by 2K, such as Civilization Beyond Earth, which is essentially a rehash of Civilization 5, and Borderlands the pre-sequel, which was really just a massive expansion pack for Borderlands 2. But the DLC is not needed to play the game. Many people do not understand that. Whenever Paradox Interactive bring a new downloadable, say, skin pack or something, you do not need it. Most people don't understand that. But even then, there's an incessant amount of it. Don't listen to those people when they say, why is there so much downloadable content, why isn't this just free, it's just like skin pack. And I understand them, but you do not need the stuff. It makes no difference. The only major things are, the only major mods are the more expensive ones, like Conquest of the New World, Res Publica, Art of War, which is the most recent big one, and they're bringing out a new one called El Dorado, and I'm pretty sure there's another one that I can't think of right now, but they are the main ones that you would like if you need them. You don't need them to play the game. I mean, they add some more depth to the game, but that's about it. They're not really needed. But yeah, apart from that, the developer support and the free patches are amazing. A while back they did a complete overhaul of the map, adding a bunch of new provinces, bunch of new nations, making it so much more immersive and so more historically accurate. I'll move on to the difficulty now. I must say, there is not many games like Europa Universalis 4, apart from, say, Crusader Kings, the Crusader Kings series, Hearts of Iron, which are both made by Paradox Interactive. But if you have no patience, or very little, and you can still play an RTS, but you don't like it very much, you're not gonna like Europa. Just full stop. You're not gonna like any Europa game, because if you have no patience, you need to wait. After you go to war, you need to wait 2 years, which isn't very much in the game, but it's a long time in real life, especially even when you're going on 5 speed. That's still about maybe 5-10 minutes, depending. And you are still going to not like sitting there doing very little, because, I mean, that's what the events are for. They're for adding in content, but in between war and diplomacy and war and more war, there's nothing to do. I mean, you could manage your trade, you could colonize is a good distraction. Colonization is a good distraction, and that's where the focus on the Western world comes in, where they're just, all of Europe is much more fun to play. And the learning curve, if you've never played a grand strategy game, or you've never played the likes of Risk or something, as in terms of board games, you are gonna have a lot of learning to do. I took about 50 hours trying to learn everything, and I'm still finding things. And I've only gotten average at the game. I mean, I'm alright, but I still rush things. The game, it's a weird kind of it's not an RTS, but it's not turn-based. It's constantly going, but it's pausable. So it's more akin to an RTS, but it's still pausable. But really, I say, personally, learn the menus, and you'll have a good time. Learn how to play your civilization. Make sure you're not playing a civilization that's likely to get killed in the first year of the game or whatever. But yeah. Anyway guys, so I'm just about done here. My final verdict is Europa Universalis 4 is a difficult, rewarding, and fun game. But I forgot to mention the multiplayer. The multiplayer is much more fun. Like playing with friends, watching them stuff up, watching them do well, going to war with friends is a lot more fun. I personally recommend it with friends, but then again, the multiplayer is also mildly buggy. They need to do a multiplayer patch update. But anyway guys, so it's Europa. It's retail price is $40 on Steam. You can't buy it in Australia. Sorry, at least on the store shelves. It's $40. I personally don't think it's worth that. A lot of people say you're meant to buy it when it's on sale, so you can afford the extra DLC, and I agree with them, because for $40 when it's during a Steam sale or something, or during a weekend when Europa's 75% off, you're gonna get maybe 2-3 major DLCs, probably 2 and a couple of small ones, and the base game for $40, and you'll be a lot happy with that. But anyway guys, so yeah, the game, although it has a major Western focus, I've got to give the developers this. They are Swedish, so they obviously have a preference and bias, if they don't know it, or even if they do. But if they don't, they have a bias towards the Western world, because they're made there, that's what their company's based in, such and such. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe for more at a glance and a critical review. This has been Oriak Wolf with Europa Universalis 4. Thanks for watching guys.